Welcome to another episode of Making It in Music, where we explore real journeys of musicians' life. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined with my longtime friend, Leanne, and an exceptional musician and educator. Welcome, Leanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me, Louis.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again. I'll just do a little bit about your bio. Leanne is an accomplished violinist. Over 28 years, she holds a master's degree in music performance and literature from University of Western Ontario. And she has a Bachelor of Music in Violin Performance from University of Toronto. She's also the founder of Bravo Music, a thriving Vancouver-based studio and that she established in 2011, offering violin, piano, theory music, and all the traditional lessons. And I'm excited to dive into your journey and go and ask you all about your journey from back then.
Okay, looking forward to discussing.
Sure. Okay, so it's a little background stories about us. Do you remember when you first met me?
Yes, of course. So I was teaching in Vancouver for a couple of years after finishing my schooling in Ontario. And then I went back to Vancouver for about 2 years. I was dating my husband at that time, and he was then my boyfriend. And then he got a job opportunity in Calgary. It was like a temporary situation in Calgary, but he would be there for a couple of years. So I went and moved with him to Calgary. We got married in Calgary, and we purchased our first apartment in Calgary. So one day I was walking next door to get some food from the Vietnamese restaurant next to the building. And then I saw that in the same mall was a music school. And then I had basically left my studio in Vancouver behind, and I was in search of a job. First mortgage came along with the first apartment. So having used up all my savings, pretty much, and then in a new environment with no connections, I thought, hey, let's apply to the school and see if they might need a new teacher. And that's when you responded. And you're so nice to me since the beginning. And we set up an interview. I really liked you. I liked the school. It felt nice and familiar to me because it was a Yamaha music school. And I have been a Yamaha student myself when I was little in Taiwan. So I thought, this is such a lovely space in such a convenient, nice location. And that's when I first met you.
Right, yeah. So you worked at TeachMusic.Academy for a couple of years back then as an administrator and a teacher, a violin teacher, and as a Yamaha teacher as well. So that was good times.
Yes, definitely. And then I feel it's almost feeling like a homecoming, being a Yamaha student and one day teaching in a Yamaha school. And I remember you offered me the opportunity of getting trained as a JMC, junior music course, and YMC, young musicians course teacher. Yeah, so receiving all that training and seeing some of the same songs that I played as a child, still included in the book. It felt really nice and familiar. It was a happy memory and experience.
Right. Yes, excellent. That was a wonderful memory for myself as well. So excellent. So let's start with some basic icebreaker questions about yourself so that my audience get to know you a little bit more. What are your current top 3 songs on your Spotify list?
Okay, so In the Hall of the Mountain King by Edward Grieg. Not because I'm a classical musician, but because my son loves that song. So I have to play it on repeat, and then near the end when it gets really exciting, if I'm driving and that's playing, he would ask me to roll down the car window, and then blast the music so everybody can hear it. Wow. Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing. So that one. And then number 2, I think probably would be Mary Poppins. Because of my son. And number 3, let me see what else I have. To be honest, as a classical musician, a lot of times after work, the last thing I want to hear is more classical music. So probably K-pop.
Understandable. Yep. Me too.
Yes. It's that or news radio.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Second question. Are you a coffee or tea person? And what's your go-to drink before teaching? Coffee, right? You need that before teaching.
Yes, black coffee.
Yes.
No nonsense, and you can drink it really fast.
Excellent. Okay. Do you have one musical related items you always carry in your teaching bag?
Music related.
Or anything is a must. Might not be music related, but anything.
Okay. I have to say it's my cell phone. And can I choose two?
Oh, sure.
So, cell phone and iPad. Because for cell phone, a lot of times, even on the day of the lesson, my students are very thoughtful. Like if they're feeling sick, but not sick enough to not come, but they know I have a little one. So if they don't want to pass on whatever virus they have contracted from school, they would ask me if they could have online lessons. Sometimes I get the request the same day of the lesson. So having my phone ready for FaceTime or Zoom lessons is definitely important. The other thing, iPad, is because I use Fourscore. So instead of carrying books like I did up until 2 years ago, like a dinosaur. I see younger colleagues carrying, sleek, iPad Pro 13. Yeah, finally
I want that.
I finally, drank the Kool-Aid and I bought myself one, and now I use the iPad so much every day for my lessons. I no longer have to carry books around anymore. So these two things.
For me, is water for sure. It's also wrapped around the day.
Yes.
Yes, excellent. Okay, do you have pre-performance ritual or like superstition or?
No, but I have something that I try to follow since I was a student. So I always try to get as much practice done as possible, at least a month or a week, like at minimum a week to a month, I would say, prior to the actual performance. If it's something serious, like back in university, if it's a graded performance recital, like I would try to practice more a month before. Yeah. And then I would try to keep a normal mindset and not stress out the week off. Right. Yeah, because I feel like if I try to over practice or panic, and then I would start noticing more and more flaws. The practice becomes less effective. So keeping a normal mindset for days, minimum 1 week before the actual performance actually helped me to relax, feel more confident, and play better on the actual performance day. So I would say it's the reverse of studying. No cramming. Yeah. So whatever you're supposed to know, you need to know it a month to a week before. And then just try to maintain peak performance of that amount of work that you were able to accomplish. Yeah.
Very, very good advice. Yeah. Okay, let's go to your journey a little bit from the beginning. How can you share how you first fell in love with the violin or the piano? Which one comes first?
Piano, because my mom actually was a piano teacher. She taught from home. And then I think for a while she was, maybe renting a room and teaching at the Yamaha school where I was a Yamaha student. I remember going to the classes and my mom has students in a different room. So I fell in love with the piano, especially with the song for Elise. I think many piano students and teachers can identify with that. That's because I wanted to be able to play that. Yeah, so piano first.
Right. And then violin much later or?
Much later. I think I started with junior music course at 3 years old. And a violin, I started around 7 or 8, closer to 8.
Which is a better way to start because piano is all tuned up and you don't have to worry about tuning and all of that. And the position of violin might be more suitable for older kids.
Yeah. And then besides positioning, I think pitch recognition. You need to first know how a correct sound sounds like before you try violin. Yeah.
Violin's a very hard instrument to start with.
Especially for little kids. So I feel like my mom did the right thing by letting me start with piano first.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Every artist has a little spark. And what moment made you realize that you want to pursue music and more than a hobby and as a career, following your mom's footsteps?
So I would have to say that the first real spark would be listening to back then tapes of Itzhak Perlman's, playing. Yeah. And Ruggiero Ricci. And then back then when I was little, of course, there were not even discs. There were tapes. And my mom had purchased volumes and volumes of sets. And I really enjoy Perlman, Heifetz, and Ricci's violin playing. And then I feel like Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto he only wrote that one. The Violin Concerto performed by Perlman was, the goal. If I thought if one day I could play that, then I would be so happy. And then that's the first spark. Yeah, that's the song that kind of pushed me to keep going. Yeah.
Excellent mentors there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any particular teacher that really helped set you on your musical path or a career path?
Yes, I would have to say for me, I've been very lucky to have good teachers for both violin and piano. But I have to say, seeing as I'm mainly a violin teacher now, I have been so lucky with every single violin teacher I've had. So when I was in Taiwan in elementary school, the teacher who started me on violin, I would have to say kind of made me feel confident about my abilities. He was a dad and he had a daughter who was 1 year older than me. And he was so gentle. And because I had a piano background, it was easier for him to teach me. He didn't have to tell me about music theory or rhythm, pitch. And I was older, so set up for violin playing was easier. Didn't need to use a mini violin. I started with a quarter size, which was not the best quality of sound, but decent compared to like a tenth or something. Yeah. So he was somebody that I really admire who made me feel confident. And he always told me how well I was doing. And I'm sure a lot of times my playing was probably very cringy, especially in the beginning, but he made me feel confident, always positive feedback, always positive remark. And yeah, so because of him, I wanted to become someone like that. Yeah.
So your first violin teacher.
Yeah, I wanted to become a teacher or an adult like him and who was gentle to kids.
Nice. Yes. So how did your university training prepare you, not just as a performer, but as an educator or as an entrepreneur? And I believe you were the first violinist in orchestras back then, right? University days?
Yeah, so in graduate school, more so. So in university, I have to say, because I was the performance major at the University of Toronto, it prepared me for performance. So lots of practice of audition repertoires, and then lots of recital opportunities. I had great teachers, and I would have to say my undergrad years prepared me for orchestra auditions. Because when I first graduated, even being able to be invited to play as a substitute in Ontario or even Michigan orchestras were such a privilege. And then so all that orchestral training helped me learn lots of repertoire. But today, I would have to say for my undergrad training, music history and music theory, they were explained to me clearly by my professors. Really helped me understand the material that I now have to teach in RCM textbooks. When I was a student, I was a newcomer to Canada. I was an ESL student. English was not my forte. So music theory was okay because it's more like math. It's an understanding of concepts. But music history was really hard for me. I really didn't know what I was studying. I just tried to force myself to memorize things, and I would forget all the material that I learned after. But in university, my professors would take their time and explain things clearly. So history professors. So even yesterday, I was teaching music history to an online class. And basically, my job is to break everything down to the simplest possible way for teenagers to understand. And I attribute my ability to do that to my history teachers in university. It's because they explained it to me, and then I finally got it. Yeah. And then for graduate school, I would have to say my teacher, Gwen Thomson, she is such an amazing person. She's been awarded the Order of Canada as an educator. Like, that's how amazing she is, and how she truly, genuinely cares for her students, and she customizes her teaching technique to each student. She would be, honest about what you need to improve on. When you're not doing well, she would tell you in a kind way. And then when you're doing well, there's no one happier for you than she would be. Just that genuine enthusiasm, not just her teaching skills, but how really supportive she was and how loving she was to her students. And that inspired me to be the kind of teacher I want to be. Yeah, just to be passionate about the job. She has so much passion and energy and enthusiasm for her job. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so wonderful education through university on music side. How about the business entrepreneur side? I feel that a lot of music degree does not cover that too much.
At all. You're my biggest mentor. You are my biggest mentor in business. Yeah, really? And then it was not until I opened my own school that I realized how much work you had to do. Yeah, I don't think teachers, even students and parents, they'll see one side of your business, right? The receiving end. Yeah, the things that you offer, services, the products you offer. Teachers, they kind of know a little bit about how to run business, in that many of them would have their own private studio beside teaching at the actual music school. Yeah, but it was until I started running my own place and I thought, whoa, Louis is amazing. And you did it at a young age too.
Yeah, and right, about 23, 24, I started.
Yeah, and then when I started Bravo Music, I was already in my early 30s. Yeah, and by then I had already had my studio for, at least almost 10 years. So, yeah, it's amazing what you did. And then you hired me as an assistant manager, kind of allowed me to have discussions with you. Yeah, about the kind of things that, you need to do, like even requirement for lease. Safety for the students, things like that. People don't normally think about pricing for lessons. Yeah, things like that. I definitely learned from you. So thanks for being my mentor, Louis.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. You were a very good student and a very good assistant manager. But that's what I'm trying to do at TeachMusic.Academy. Our 10-week course at the Teach Music is, to help musicians like yourself help to open your own studio anywhere else in the world that want to help set up and don't know the business end of it, like the accounting, the setup, the business, signing a lease or invoices and all of that information. Yeah. A lot of musicians lack support and knowledge. So hopefully the mentorship will help them.
Yeah, and then avoid potholes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk a bit more about your career development. Let's see, you've been teaching for over 28 years or so. What still motivates you to stay passionate about teaching?
Daily expenses, rising cost of living. Yeah, I think to motivate me I look forward to, I think it's having a studio of students that you like with parents who you get along with. Yeah, it's the people that motivate me to keep going. It's not necessarily, passing on my knowledge as a musician as much. I mean, that's the main goal, but just seeing the students grow up. Yeah. And then hearing how they improve at the recitals and when they're excited to tell me about something that happened to them at school, when they're sharing their life with me and developing friendship. Yeah. And just basically seeing kids grow up, it really motivates me to go. I look forward to going to work because I like the people I work with.
Right. It's very rewarding to see their progress.
Yes.
Progress as well, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Has your teaching philosophy evolved over the years?
A little bit. I feel like I'm still the same kind of person. So for me, my job, I feel, is to help people achieve the best of their ability. So I try to motivate and inspire and give sufficient nudge to the student and be firm when I need to without being harsh. I never want to be known as someone who is harsh or mean or too strict. But you need to have a little bit of structure for the students to follow. Otherwise, if you're just happy and easygoing all the time and everything's all good. That's not what the parents are paying for either. But I feel like when I was younger, I was probably too relaxed with the students. I feel bad for the students that I taught in the very beginning of my career when I was still in university. So the reason why I've been teaching for 28 years is because I started when I was 18, right? Just, maybe some older classmates can't take on more students, and then they would refer me to these potential clients who then would, have their kids study with me. And yeah, I'm a little bit more firm with what I expect, how much practice I expect, and how to let students know when they're not doing as good job, but still in a nice way. But back when I was younger, I was being too nice. Yeah, I feel, and afraid to make constructive criticisms in the beginning. Because I was barely a kid myself.
Right. And teaching is a good first job for a lot of us. And we grow from that. We get better as a teacher the more we teach. And the more tools we have, right? So,
yes.
And also, so the course Teach Music as well, we try to give them as many tools as possible because the variety of students we have to deal with, different abilities and different expectations. So we'll have to, as a teacher, experienced teacher, would probably be easier and know more how to deal with those students and parents.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think young musicians today or teenagers today need most from their teachers?
Reality. Yeah. I have I have a student right now who is preparing for university music auditions. Yeah, he's applying to major universities across Canada. And I also have another one who's thinking of doing it next year. And when someone tells me they're looking for a career in music, I need to tell them the reality because they see me, like someone who runs a music school, right? And then somehow I'm able to say, afford a car or travel. They will say things like, well, you choose your own work hours and you have a pretty decent rate. Yeah, and that's what I want to do. But they don't see, the hard work you've had to put in. The times when you're younger, when parents told you that they no longer want to study with you for whatever reason, and how people can stop lessons at any moment. They don't see things that way. They just look at 28 years of cumulative effort. Yeah, so reality is that when you get students, you get them one at a time. Yeah, you're not going to start with the full studio, and people are not going to believe in your abilities, especially when you're young. Yeah, and they question. Even if you have a university degree, graduate degree, a lot of parents will feel like, well, you're too young to have any experience, or just because you can play doesn't mean you can teach well. And they have their point. So reality of getting a job as a music teacher it's tough. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, tough to accept.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, if they're lucky to have you as a mentor, for sure. So, if they do ever want to start one.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's talk about building Bravo Music. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to start Bravo Music back in 2011?
Yeah. So I actually wanted to open up a music studio before my husband and I moved to Calgary. So before we knew he would be working there, I was actually looking around the area where I was living in to see if there were any available retail spaces. I didn't look for very long. It was just an idea. And it's because at that time, I was teaching 7 days a week. When you're young, you have lots of time and not a lot of family obligations as a young adult, right? And you have the energy and the drive to really establish yourself. Teaching 7 days a week and turning away potential clients. And I thought, why should I turn away potential clients? It should always be yes. Yes, please come and join me. So I thought, okay, maybe I can open a music school and then I can get another like-minded person or 2 or 3 like-minded teachers, and then we can, all take new students. And someone's schedule is bound to fit the schedule of the potential students. Why should it be a no when someone wants to study music? The answer should always be yes. So I started looking around, but then I moved to Calgary. And it was a good awakening because I learned from you that what I was thinking about, having a music school in terms of the administrative part, I had no idea. I thought you just rent a space and then you can open one. I didn't realize even things about zoning. Yeah. And then I was through you that I learned, oh, wow, there's so much finances that you need to understand, rules and policies you need to understand. Yeah. So when I came back to Vancouver, I thought, okay, now I learned quite a few things from Louis. Let's go back and start looking at more retail spaces. Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I started.
Yeah, and you did well. Building a studio is no small feat. So yeah, any early challenges and victories?
Early challenges, I think it was the same as when I first started teaching as a independent private teacher. It's how people didn't know you. So I had given up my entire studio in Vancouver to move to Calgary. And then when I moved from Calgary back to Vancouver, all my previous students had new teachers for many years. So, and it was also unethical to ask them to come back to me because when I left, I referred them to my friends who I trusted. So I didn't want to steal my students back. Yeah. So I had to start again. So it was getting myself out there, getting my name out there, having the feeling of distrust. People feel like, but we don't know you. Right? And then new competitors. Every year, there are new graduates from music programs, newcomers, and they're also good at teaching, So for me, as a private teacher, finally, I reached the level where I had enough students to support opening a new music school. Yeah. But once I opened the new music school, the same problem happened. So people in the neighborhood could see that there's a new music institution there, but they either already had teachers or they wouldn't trust me. Yeah, we don't know the school. We don't know the teachers you're hiring.
So you have to rebuild your brand, what is
all the
music,
time.
all of that,
yes,
and make people aware what you offer and
what's
special about.
Yes. So receiving the trust, gaining the trust of people was tough in the beginning, but once that was established, people trusted you, and then word of mouth is the most effective way of advertising. Then the clients started coming. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Yes.
Yeah. It took a long time.
You'll get there though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wear multiple hats, right? As a performer, pianist, artist, educator, violinist, and a mom, obviously. How do the roles intersect for you, and how do you balance it all?
So performing wise, I don't do so much anymore. Maybe the occasional student recital, right? Maybe occasionally I'll play a student recital. I'm going to be playing this year at the winter recital. I have to start practicing. I have a rehearsal next week, and I need to get myself going and motivated. Having the school and teaching I find that to be good in terms of how I spend my time, because I can only teach from, say, 2:30 onwards until maybe about 9 o'clock. And the people that would come around 2:30 would be adults, right? Most students will come between 3:30 and 9. So I had daytime free. So I did not have my son for the first 8 years I had Bravo Music. So Bravo Music was my child. Yeah, I could take care of Bravo Music in the morning, get all my administrative things done, and then take a little break after lunch and then go to teach. So that wasn't too hard. And when I had my child, he was born maybe 4 months before all the COVID school and public space closures. Yeah. And actually that helped with my situation with having a child, because suddenly my husband had to work from home a lot of times and I had to move all my lessons online. So and babies slept a lot. So I was still able to teach from home. Yes, and that made things easier. I think if I had to go into work every day for the first 6 months of my son's life, it would have been more difficult. Yeah, but I was lucky that.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about music education. Do you have any memorable student success stories?
For me, memorable student success story would be how people who don't necessarily go into music run into me or on the street and tell me, oh, I really want to come back and do lessons, or my child is now taking violin lessons, or I am now doing a music course, even though, as engineering major or nutrition major, they're taking an elective course in music history at the Faculty of Music. Many of my students either play in the school, university, recreational orchestra, and then they tell me, right? Or they take music courses and ask me for tips on studying, or they tell me they're married and have kids who now are playing piano and violin, and they send me videos. I think that's the most precious to me. It's that I didn't ruin them for the next generation. My students who are now adults don't have those stories of my teacher was so strict and then she fired me as a student, or she used to do this. I think my achievement is cultivating the next generation of music lovers.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So those are most rewarding stories that all teachers like to hear, right?
Yes.
So that's my next question. How do you develop students to not just a skill, but a lifelong love of music? How do you think you did that? Or
I think it's making them feel good about their achievements. I mean, definitely, if someone's not doing their work, not practicing, you have to say something. But when they really try, right? And even it's a slow progress, the teacher has to be the student's biggest cheerleader. Yeah. And maybe even if they're preparing for an exam, letting them have a choice of what they want to play. I feel like a lot of teachers want to achieve those high marks for RCM exams, and especially for higher level where it's harder to get higher marks. Some teachers will even just choose, like the required songs from the beginning, and that's all you do for that level. For me, that's not an authentic assessment of the student's ability. Yeah, it's not. I feel like my way of teaching is my students, all of them, the minute they get a book, whether it's a etude book or a repertoire for RCM, they have to finish most of the songs. And even the songs where, student and I are both giggling and saying, this looks so crazy, let's try it. We might use it as sight reading and never play again, and that's okay. Yeah, so I feel like you need to let the student have a choice to discover different styles of songs, and doesn't matter. I always tell them it doesn't matter if you get the highest mark or not. I mean, try to do your best. Don't give me nightmares, but choose the songs you like, choose the songs you're good at, and be able to play lots of different things. Yeah.
Often those will stick with them for the rest of their life, like that one song that I learned way back in,
So you want them to be able to develop the ability to be able to fire you one day. I don't really need lessons anymore. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so the future of music education, how do you think is the teaching today compared to when you first started, and where do you think the teaching will go from now on?
I feel like I'm sure a lot of teachers who have gone through, trying to maintain a studio during COVID will agree that online lesson is much more readily accepted now. I think prior to COVID, a lot of times when students, sometimes they're tired or the parents are busy and then they cannot attend the lesson. There's now the option of online lesson. And for students who have, at least some basic level of playing, they're able to still effectively learn at the convenience of their home. I currently have a student who is a retired person and, going away for 3 months during the winter. And now we're in contact about, setting up online lessons, even though we're on different continents. So we can keep that progress steady. Yeah, you never want to just stop suddenly. And so online lessons is convenient. Yeah.
And change education these days.
I feel that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what advice do you have for young teachers that want to start their own studio?
I would have to say pricing is important. So as a music school owner, I have to interview teachers, and sometimes I ask them, one of the questions I ask them is, what's your salary expectation? And then I feel like a lot of teachers are realistic. Most people I interview are realistic, and there's some way underqualified applicants I still interview because, like maybe just to have a backup option, right? You need like always a supply of maybe even substitute teachers, for an emergency situation. It's nice to have like a list of people you can contact. But sometimes the underqualified candidates will name the highest price. Yeah, and then sometimes the teachers who have excellent qualifications, they undersell. So I feel like a new teacher should do the job of calling around, asking around to know what the median price is. And you need to know your own ability and experience. Yeah, a new teacher, I feel like, need to know that maybe not everybody's going to pay you $200 an hour just because one particular teacher in your city is charging that amount. Yeah, but also don't undersell. Yeah, don't feel like you suddenly should be accepting $15 an hour because you're a new grad. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent advice. Okay, so we'll finish off with what we always do with some this called time travel segment. If you could go into a time machine and meet your old 20-year-old self, what would you tell? What would you tell her?
Oh, my 20-year-old self. I would have to say, it's hard.
Yes.
I would have to say to believe in my ability to do something other than music more. A lot of people feel like musicians only know music. And then I've even have friends' parents say, oh, but she's a musician, right? Musicians. My husband's not a musician, but he did play music when he was little. But I've had previous relationships where I was dating musicians, and I've heard people say, oh, musicians, their head is always up in space. They're not very in touch with reality. Musicians and musicians, when they're together, it's even more out there, right? People don't believe that you could have common sense and the ability to function as a normal part of human race. And that's not true. So, I mean, I ran a successful business for 14 years, and I'm able to move from city to city and establish my studio repeatedly many times in a row now. I feel like, no, not every musician's head's out in space. So I feel like if you're good enough to do something as complicated as music, you're good enough to learn how to do everything else too. It's not that hard. Just need experience and believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. Very good. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Leanne, for this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To share your story and your insights, and good luck. In your future. I just heard that you have recently sold your business, and so congrats on that. So,
thank you.
Excellent feat there as well. So to our listeners, if you want to learn more about TeachMusic.Academy, don't forget to check out our website and also follow us. And we have future more exciting guests coming on for the next episode. Thank you so much. This is
Thank you, Louise.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us. Next Monday, January 26th, we will chat with Lisa Amirati, and she's the owner and founder of Skyline Music. We will explore her journey from making it music by accident, from organ to owning a music empire in Airdrie, Alberta. Stay tuned.